All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Uh, this is Conversations with Eileen, episode number 4. And tonight's guest is what I like to say exemplifies giving and a shining example in our community. Our next guest is a small business owner. He is a dad. He is a husband. He is a great mom. I have to give a shout out to your mom. And he's a small business owner who's given so much to this community. And he's my friend. And I'm thrilled to call him my friend. So let's bring him on. My next guest is Benny Disparra. Hi, Benny.
Hey, Eileen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, my friends?
Good, very good.
You look good. You look good.
Yeah.
You look good.
Overworked, but
okay. Work. Hey, listen, work is good, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Nice to be working.
Yes. So we've actually known each other for quite a few years.
Yes.
Interesting.
We're at our almost 15 years in East Meadow.
Correct. Yes. But you and I met when you had your other location in Roslyn. When I worked in Roslyn, and I would go in every day for lunch. And I think it was your mom who said, "Oh, we live in East Meadow." And I thought, "Oh, what a cool."
I remember when you had first came in, you were like, "Oh, look, it's because like we didn't advertise. You had no way of knowing. You were just a neighborhood customer, and you're like, oh my God, I remember you guys."
Yes, and then I got friendly with your mom, and then, of course, it was actually my son who found you.
Yeah. Well, the kids used to. That was like the high school spot. In the beginning, we had like loyalty cards, and we had them all over the wall, and it became like a trendy thing in the town. Like they wanted to get their cards up, and then we started doing that, and we had the wall filled with it by like our 4th or 5th year. And then what's funny is like as the kids were coming home from college, they were seeing the wall with their names when they were like in 9th grade. Like
I have to come in and see if Anthony's name up there. And you know what? I'm going to come in this week and I'm going to get him a sandwich. Do you remember what his sandwich is? It's the Anthony.
Oh,
it's the Anthony. It's always the Anthony. So Benny, I'm so glad that you're here with me because I am sometimes amazed at the things that you do. And you know, it's not only the things that you've done recently, it's the things that you've done consecutively year after year through a lot of the organizations, the PTAs, the non-for-profits, the veterans. So you've been a consistent giver.
Yes.
In our community. And, you know, some people might question why. You're a small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, certainly your expenses are high. You have help. You have to pay for goods. Why? Why is it so important to you?
Well, you know, it is born and raised in East Meadow, going to all the schools. Like I always knew it was important. I mean, I remember doing our own fundraising when we were in school, and it's hard to pound the pavement and get people to help out. And anytime like a cheerleader or somebody came in, I was never reluctant to help because I knew that I was giving back to where I went to school, the firehouses that I've seen. If something was ablaze and I heard the next day, or I had friends who were in the volunteer firefight, I couldn't do it because I have a health condition, but who were all volunteer firefighters. And like always, it's just how I was raised. Like we're giving people, like you always take care of somebody. Someone comes to your house, you feed them, even if they say they're not hungry, you feed them, you take care of them. I think that when you can't just take from the neighborhood, you want to enrich the neighborhood, because you enrich the neighborhood, you give back to your neighborhood, then you have a nice neighborhood, you have caring customers and people, and they, you know, it's like a give and take for everybody. You know, I think that's very important. I think that's paramount, because
I agree with you.
You can't just, there's people, I mean, not to say that someone who's out of town or they can't be part of a neighborhood that they live or work in or whatever it may be, but when I've actually been there firsthand, they're my streets, they're my, you know, it's where I grew up and what I know. It's like you want to give back and you want to be part of something because you know that you're making it a better neighborhood, and you're a business in that neighborhood. So if it's a crummy neighborhood, you're a business in a crummy neighborhood. You want to enrich the neighborhood. And I think everybody should be doing that, big or small, anything you can give back.
That's a great philosophy. And you know what we failed to mention is that, yeah, you live in East Meadow. So, being a patron at your deli, Nina's Deli, which is on Newbridge Road and makes fantastic heroes. And my favorite is the egg white and spinach, which you haven't made in a while, but I'm not hating on you. I'll wait for you to make it for me. Is that it's important because you live in this community. Your children go to this school. And so when we come to you and give you our business, you're in turn giving it right back into the community.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think people don't realize a majority of our business owners actually live in our community. And I think that that's a really important message that we need to pound home. But here's the thing that I really, really want to get to with you, because I know during the pandemic, small businesses, especially your type of business, food industry, really suffered. And I don't know how you did it. And I commend you for staying afloat and doing all the things that you do. But you did something so extraordinary. And I want you to be the one to tell our viewers what you did and why.
In the beginning, like most small business owners like myself, it was one of the scariest things, especially the media scares people. And we were being told, like, where you're getting shut down. People were talking about how are people feeding their families. I'll never forget, I actually texted my cousins, because we all have small kids the same age. And it was right around Easter time. And everybody goes a little crazy, and they make each kid these Easter baskets. And I give it to they're not my nephews, it's my cousin's kids or my other cousin's kids or my sister, my nephew, and everybody gives each other baskets. And I literally had to tell them, we can't be doing Easter baskets and going crazy because we don't know where our next dollar's coming from. We were like that scared. We didn't know how we were going to pay our mortgage, because we didn't know what was happening. Were they going to come down and board the doors? Like, be like, you have to shutter us down. So we had to basically pick ourselves up by our boots. So I remember that conversation being that scared, where I said, I can't even spend any money to do gifts for the kids, because I was that worried about how were we going to stay afloat. I thought my livelihood, 14 years, almost 14 years that we built and worked hard for, was gone because of what they were saying on the news. So we were like, okay, what can we do to stay open? So that's when they started with the curbside and this and that. But what had happened was we had a party booked, and my wife says, oh, we ordered the stuff. And I'm like, they're not going to be able to do it because you see the lockdowns. Now they can't do this party. So I called my friend who's in the volunteer firefighter. I said, listen, I've got all this food. I want to give it to one of the first responders. These people are working around the clock. They're inundated. I don't know. I don't really have any channels to these people. Can you help me give it to somebody? And so he goes, yeah, let me make a few phone calls. He calls me back. He goes, yeah, I'm going to send it to the people. They've been dealing with patients and getting people into NUMC all night long. They're working doubles. They're working 20 hours straight. They would love it. So I'm like, great. So I send the food over there. They were so thankful. And then all of a sudden I said to my wife, I'm like, people are out there. They can't even. Then the guy was like, we didn't even get to have a banana. We didn't have anything. You have no idea what this meant. So I said to my wife, I'm like, these people, it's not just the first responders, the people in the hospitals, they're working overnight. They can't even go home because they're afraid to get their family sick. So they're staying at the hospital, or they're sleeping in their garages. So then one of my good friends from Executive Auto, he saw this post that they posted, the fire department post, and he's like, listen, let me give you $100. Do it again. So I was like, okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, great. So then somebody else posted, and then Picosa Bakery called me and said, I want to give a bunch of empanadas and all kinds of stuff. And they have excellent stuff. Like living in East Meadow, I know all the good stuff. I know all the good food. They have such good sweet breads and everything. So I was like, oh, awesome. Yeah, we're going to send stuff over to the hospital today and bring what you can, and I'll do a whole care package. And we started with that. And then it just snowballed into like, it felt like a movie. It really felt like it was, if I look back on it now, it felt like a Hallmark movie because you had kids, Girl Scouts making us masks because we couldn't get masks. And we were so terrified. And I had to, every day, I had to try to have like a pep talk with my employees because they were starting to get like, I don't know if I want to be here. I don't know if I want to stay. I'm scared. I want to go home. And I had to make it. So I said, okay, we're on lockdown. No one's allowed in the store. Curbside only, masks on, gloves on. We're going to do whatever we can. And then I noticed that the neighborhood needed stuff and they couldn't really get out to the major stores that they were afraid to.
Yes.
So I started bringing in produce, peanut butter and jelly, cereal, all this home good stuff I never carried.
Right.
The profit margins were small, but it kept the lights on. It kept the people employed because people would have been unemployed. Me and my wife would have had to like struggle to try to find a way to get on unemployment, and that wouldn't have been enough. So we're like, we're just going to try to stay open. We're like, hopefully we don't have an outbreak here, but we'll be on lockdown. And it was just the Girl Scouts bringing Girl Scout cookies that we were bringing to the hospitals and sewing us masks so that we had masks that we could have when we were washing our other masks. And then all the other businesses that were like, what can we give? What can we give? And then people started direct messaging me, donating money.
Yep.
I was in tears one night with my wife saying that this is going to get us through. This fund is going to get us through. I had a great friend of mine, Liz Cozy from Grove Street. She does like personalized items and ornaments and stuff like that, lawn sign, all kinds of stuff. And she contacted me and said, I'm going to do Easter painting things for the kids. I'm going to just make them. I have the cutting machine. I'll do all those. I'll sell those and give you and put it into the money. So then I started getting in touch with all the hospitals. So St. Joseph's, we went to even Manhattan hospitals, all these hospitals. We started getting these pictures of these. It like humanized these people who were in the hospitals with burns on their face from their shields. And it was like a movie. These people were like superheroes, nonstop working. And then the glory of just a sandwich, because they were not allowed to take breaks. They couldn't go in communal spaces. They couldn't leave. They couldn't leave to go get takeout. So they were like so thankful. They were sending us pictures and we were putting them onto Facebook as much as we could with the guidelines. And people were they were donating, and what the best thing was, then people would now call, let's say for argument's sake, you called and you said, I want to send my friend in the hospital. She works there. She's been working for 9 days straight. She hasn't seen her family. I want to send them lunch. I'd say, no problem. I'd take the order, and then I'd say, I've got good news for you. It's paid for already. It's paid for by the East Meadow community, by all the people in East Meadow. We have a wonderful outpour of donations, and it's not going to cost you anything. Just, if you were going to do something and you want to donate, you can donate whatever you can, pay it forward. But this is paid for by the East Meadow community. And as much as I could, like in the beginning, I was matching. And then like when we were able to do stuff, I'd be able, because I would go like as close to cost just so I could continue to employ the people, pay the bills, keep the lights on. But it saved us, like kept us going to the point where we were able to stay. We had a couple people who left because they had vulnerable people at home, and they were just getting too paranoid because they were working with other people. It wasn't even just the people on the street. It was just that they were working with other coworkers. They were getting scared. So, but other than that, we were able to retain our crew. We were able to do everything we needed to just stay open. And it was really like unbelievable. The people would pull up in their cars and say, here's $20. They'd pick up their orders. Here's $20, put it towards the fund. And it got to the point where we had people in the neighborhood who would reach out to us that people lost their jobs. And we had milk. Well, we always had milk, eggs, butter, and stuff like that, but we were able to make packages with families, and we did care packages with cereal, peanut butter, jelly. And we're like, you don't have to worry about it. And then I told the families, as long as I could keep this going, You call me. You don't have to wait to be nominated. You call me, and I'll make sure you have cold cuts and bread and milk and eggs and butter and cereal and stuff for the kids until you get, you're settled, and we help you as much as we can. I put them in touch with anybody I could in some sort of, any social work that can help them, because you don't even realize, because the scope of it, because it also got to the point where there was soup kitchens that were getting overwhelmed. Like, I don't know if it's called a soup kitchen, but it's like the schools were doing it. Like the Levittown school, the school up behind Walmart over there.
Yes.
I forgot, the name escapes me, but they were doing food pantries.
Yes.
So then I started with funds. I was donating all kinds of non-perishable goods to them. I was working with a wonderful person. Her name is Margaret Eppolito. She's part of, she's in the moms group as well, the East Middle Moms and Dads and East Middle community as well. And she was donating her time with all the food pantries, and she would come and just fill up the van with pastas and canned goods and everything I can give to her. And she was bringing it to the food pantries. She was telling me, we're running out, the lines, people who are out of work picking food up because they're on forbearances with their mortgage, they're out of work. Nobody realized. I think that as much as we saw how bad it was that people were getting sick, they didn't realize how many lives were affected, not sick, just people who were losing everything and losing their jobs and didn't know where the next dollar was coming from. It was really, it felt amazing what we were doing.
Benny, I've known you a long time, and I always say you're a quiet person. You are a person that doesn't need the accolades. You don't need the pat on the back. No. Let me just do what I have to do. What you just told me filled my heart, because you put a lot of other people that were in need in front of yourself. And that is what I think is a testament to our community. And you and I have seen it. When a call goes out, whether it's somebody's house is on fire, or somebody's suffered a devastation. Listen, I know plenty of friends whose breadwinner lost their job, and they really depended on every resource available. And you didn't just go to the hospital once, my friends. I know you went dozens of times.
Dozens and dozens, yeah.
Dozens and dozens of times.
Yeah.
And you went to the firehouses, and you went to police stations, and you made sure that those individuals that were out there doing what they needed to do to protect us and to keep our loved ones safe, that they at least had a meal for that day, a good quality meal that maybe just gave them 5 minutes of reprise to say, okay,
yeah,
I can go back in. I can go do another double shift. So
and that somebody cares. We also had the Girl Scouts. They wrote all these beautiful cards and letters that we sent into the hospital with all the cookies and stuff. It was amazing. It was really, looking back on it, it's something I'll never forget. One of the most amazing parts of my life.
Benny, you are amazing, because you never say no. You never say no. When somebody comes in, whether it's PTA or whether I need a hero for the veterans, or whether I need something else, or somebody else comes in, you never say no. And I can't thank you enough, because when I introduced you, I introduced you really as a shining example of who we are in our community. And Benny from Nina's Deli did what maybe some people would think would be, you want us to do what? Feed how many people? Oh my God, how are we going to do this? You didn't even think about it. You put your head down and you said, we're just going to do it.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you how true that is, because we had like Cohen's children. They had doctors like working overnight, and a lot of people couldn't be around their kids. They had sick children that the parents couldn't be with their kids and stuff, and what the people were going through. I remember there were nights me and Megan were just going back to try to like get ready for what we had to do going forward, and then being there at night making full trays of hot food, and because they were overnights, so they were like, okay, well, we only operate these certain hours, but you can't leave those people out that work midnight shifts and graveyard shifts. So we were there at night and then my driver, all my people, I have to say, my people, my employees, I would have been nothing without them. What they did during the pandemic and how much they stepped up. I like, for everything extra I made sure they were like, I mean, because I knew that they were going through a lot. I was tipping them out and taking care of them and treating them to lunch and anything I could, because I knew that like this is not just, oh, it's my job, I have to do this. They felt like heroes themselves. They were on clipboards doing home deliveries. We became a different business overnight. Yeah. Because all of a sudden we became like a supermarket, carrying stuff we never did, learning about the produce business, and it was just really amazing. And my driver met me in the middle of the night to go bring food there to the hospital's graveyard shift, and it was like, we never say no. Never say no.
Never say no. You've never said no. And you know, when you talk about heroes, and you may not like me saying this, but you are one of our heroes in East Meadow, and you need to know that, because the dedication and the work, and you have 2 young children, and you know, I'm sure were concerned about, I have 2 young children. I mean, you know, you have family that you needed to take care of. Yeah. And yet,
we were terrified every day.
I'm sure you were.
Just because of what you hear on the news every day, we were like, should we just wait? Should we close? And because we're like, now they're saying this, now they're saying that, now they're saying this surface, that surface. Oh, it was just getting, we're getting deliveries in here. What if the deliveries are contaminated? Like everything was, and we're like, but what are we gonna do? It felt like a point where you were the only people on earth. Like we were the only people on earth. Everybody was safe at their home, and we were like, okay, we got to get out there because somebody needs to eat. People need to eat. We got to get out there.
And somebody had to do it, and that somebody was you, my friend.
Thank
you. You and your family, and you know. So I know that a lot of people know you. You know, we've got a lot of mutual friends, and they all say the same thing. You know, that Benny is a great guy, and your wife, I mean.
Oh yeah.
You know,
again, I say my people, I can't leave out my wife.
No, and your wife is a trooper, because I went in there many times when she was about to pop, and I thought, you got to go home and put your feet up. And she's, no, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
She worked until she gave birth.
She did. I know she did. She did. And I know that your mom is there, or she's there sometimes.
Yeah. Well, during the pandemic, she wasn't until she was vaccinated. But
no. But she's.
I mean, we were so scared for anybody in that age.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, my wife, through the pandemic, she worked harder than me. For me, it was all about just like being a maestro, but she worked so hard. She, like I said, I never said no, but she was the one that was like, okay, making it happen. And I, you know, we're a great team, but she's really a hard worker. Wonderful.
You are a great team. I love that. And you know, the message that you and I talked about before we came on is, you know, you could read something negative on a social media post, and you know, maybe it gains a little traction, and people want to complain about something, but we don't see enough of the appreciation and the thank you, and for your thoughtfulness, and for your being aware of those that were really, you know, in dire straits. There were a lot of people in dire straits, and had it not been for you, you know, people wouldn't have had a meal, and that's scary. I'm a mother. I would eat dirt before my children would starve, and you made that possible for so many people, and You know, as I said, you are the shining example, and a good representation of what others can do.
Well, listen, like I said, you do what you can with what you have, right, at your disposal. So I had a store at my disposal. I said, okay, how can we help? We'll do anything we can. But the people of East Meadow, it's just such a wonderful community. I learned so much about the people because they're not the ones on the ground with the business, but they were all ready to, what can we do? How can we help? They were calling nonstop. They would message me. I started doing nominations, like nominate, and then they would want to pay, or I said pay it forward, or they say I could offer this, I could do this. Anybody who could do anything we had one guy that his daughters, his name was Jeff. He was his daughters were doing a car wash just to raise money to send food to kids. Now, you're talking about preteen girls, like teenagers,
Right?
Washing people's cars, doing a COVID car wash, just so that they could raise money to then give to me and other local businesses, other restaurants who were all struggling, to send food to hospitals. It was like that's why, even more so, I say it was like it was literally like living in a movie. It was like you couldn't.
We should have had a camera following you around.
Oh my God! I wish. I said that the whole time. This could be like a reality. This is a reality show, because I mean, although it was a scary time, it was like Christmas every day. Because the way how people all wanted to give and help, and everybody was so nice, and it was just an unbelievable testament of what the neighborhood is like.
Well, Benny, it's a testament to what our community is. I truly believe at the core, we are better together than we are apart. And as you've witnessed firsthand, we came together, and that's just a wonderful thing. So, how are things now? How is business now? Are you settling in? Are things picking up a little bit?
Yeah, we were nervous because we were like, now how do we go back? How do we switch gears? When when things let down, the numbers got down. I think it was like May. Was it May of this year?
It's a blur.
Such a blur.
The last year it was a blur, Betty.
The guard down, and they started saying that, I think it was last May, and they was like, okay, so we could reopen. Oh no, the summer. And they were like, okay, we were like, all right, we're gonna unlock the door and start letting people in. The numbers are better. It's summertime. We'll let people in just a couple at a time. But we're like, now we're like a produce grocery. We felt like we alienated a lot of the takeout stuff. Because we were like, we can't really just do bacon, egg, and cheese on the fly, because we're trying to get food into homes, food into hospitals. Like, you don't only stretch yourself so thin. So we're like, oh, now we alienated this whole, what we were, to become something else during the pandemic. And it was like flipping a switch. All of a sudden, the customers came back. People went to their normal routines. Even though they were working from home, everything went back to normal. The catering was obviously definitely down because there was no gathering allowed. Right. So the catering was not what it should have been for most of the year. Mm-hmm. But as far as the regular sales, I would say it has all evened out. We've been nice and steady. We've had more notoriety because based on everything we did. And, it's been a very grueling, almost 18 months now. We're just planning. Next week we'll be closed for vacation. It'll be our first real, and we're going like upstate New York to like a
relax, spend time with the kids.
Yeah, that's what we need. My wife has had such a year. We need just be. Benny, you and I make a good team. Listen, I know it's late. I know you want to see your little beautiful daughters. I want to give you the last word. What's the last word that you'd like to say to our viewers? Well, I just want to say to anybody from East Meadow who was part of it, and even everybody, you're really like family to us. You saw us through one of the worst parts of our lives, but you made it the best part of our life. One of the most amazing things I was a part of. I really want to thank all the outpouring support. You really helped our family, and in turn, you helped the community. You really helped the community. You helped a lot of people who were in hard times, and we thank you for that. My customers now, even and always, it's like uncle this, friend that, like they become family. The customers become a big extended family, and it's amazing to be a part of that. And I thank everybody for that.
Benny, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And I will be in, and I will treat my son to his favorite sandwich. Enjoy the time with your family. Enjoy the time off. Rest. Take care of yourself. Take care of your wife. Take care of your children. You stay safe, my friend.
Yes,
okay?
everybody stay safe. Let's hope we're powering through. We made it this far. We're all gonna be all right.
Let's get through. All
Thank
right,
you so
my
much.
friend. Thank
All right.
you so
Have
much.
a great night. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great time away, okay?
All right. Take care.